The Simpsons, the longest-running sitcom and animation show in television history. They recently celebrated episode 700. If our Backstreets series gets a little harder, it will soon catch up to The Simpsons. Aside from the joke, what made the series world famous? What makes it known to everyone, actually not being the longest animated show? The events that take place after the airing of the series as described in the series. In most people's eyes, this series is a kind of oracle. Many people think you guessed Trump's escape. I know that. We'll get paid for all of them. The Simpsons predicted the future one by one, because we are part of his illumination. Laughter. That's right, we are. In a moment I'll show you some historical events The Simpsons predicted. I'm sure you'll see some of them for the first time. But before that, by whom the series was made. And we'll see how it turned out. Simpsons. The TV series that the world is talking about all the time. The Simpsons. It dates back to 1985. The comic Life in Hell by Matt Groening, that is, Life in Hell, catches the attention of Hollywood writer and producer James Brooks. Brooks, contacting Groening. I want you to prepare an animation for me soon. Let these be characters that are similar to those in the comic. Groening in his comic Life in Hell. Social alienation, love, work, death, and the inevitable fear of doom. He actually made the comic book to summarize life in Los Angeles. When asked to make an animation similar to this comic book, without thinking too much about it, the name Simpsons family came to mind. So Life in Hell is the comic that brought about The Simpsons. One of the inspired sections. Groening almost all of the characters in The Simpsons gave names from his family. Let me introduce my family. This is my wife Marge, and our 3 kids Bart, Lisa, and Maggie. The Simpsons got the name of my family, but I did not use my brothers and sisters' names. The Simpsons family first appeared on April 19, 1987. It began airing in short episodes on The Tracy Ullman Show. The Simpsons was a satirical parody of a middle-class American family. It was critical and a bit against the usual. The title of the first episode aired was Good Night. The first episodes reminded me of psychological thrillers for some reason. Anyway, the looks of the characters in the first episode were different than they are now. So much so that even the characters' habits were different. Father Homer was a sane father to someone who later became stupid. While the mother is a little awkward, it is normal. Their eldest son, Bart, has turned into an outrageous, lazy parasite. There are even countries that ban the TV series just for this reason. It harms our family integrity. They set a bad example. If we go back to where we were staying, the animated series continued to be broadcast in short episodes for 3 seasons. He left The Tracy Ullman Show and started airing as an independent series. The animation we know as The Simpsons was released in 1989, started to be published as everyone knows today. Well, let's come to the real question. Does this show know what's going to happen in the future? Don't say, no dear, not that much. Decide that anyway, after the video. The section where it began. Now The Simpsons really predicted and watched the episode known as his first prophecy. 2 entertainers named Siegfried and Roy were in the 1990s. He was doing demonstrations with some animals. Their reputation started to grow. In 1993, the 5th season, the 10th episode, The Simpsons series was about them, and showed a white tiger attacking during a demonstration, 10 years later, in 2003. At a performance the duo performed in Las Vegas, a white tiger attacked Roy Horn, as shown in the same cartoon series, and it had paralyzed him partially. After this incident, how did the Simpsons series know this? Comments were made, and they were the subject of the news in many places. This is the episode that touted The Simpsons as a prophet, or a future-oriented cartoon series. It was the first of the most important events. Of course, there is also a section where they show the date when the Twin Towers were destroyed. But since this was an implication, nobody cared as much as the 2003 incident. Likewise, another episode has been spoken quite a lot. In the episode titled Bart's Return to the Future, published in 2000, we see that Lisa is the president, and she gives a speech like this. As you know, from President Trump to us, left a sizable budget deficit. The character named Lisa took the presidency from Trump, and he says that America has been going through a very difficult period economically during this period. Nobody thought of Trump at that time. Exactly 16 years later, his election as president in 2016 was interpreted as the Simpsons prophecy again held. Speaking on this topic, screenwriter Dan Graney. Trump had presidential attempts at that time. We too would be Trump, the strangest president of America. But someone like Trump could leave the country without a penny. That's why we named Trump as president. We were looking at this as nonsense at that time. Until it happened, of course. Again, in another video that came out and went viral on this topic, in 2015, when Trump announced his presidential candidacy, a scene where he goes down the stairs, it was supposedly shown on The Simpsons in 2000. Of course, he was deceived by this and made a video saying, "Here they knew the future without any research. There have been many YouTube channels, unfortunately." But this animation was actually made after Trump announced the presidency. Again, in an episode in 2014, corruption in FIFA and referee fraud were mentioned. A magazine cover had the headline, "Scandal in Football." 1 year later, accusations against FIFA were on the agenda. But in 2014, when the episode was made, and even before that, handicapping in football has come up many times. Finally, in a section in 2008, where it is foreseen that elections can be held with electronic voting. Although the character chose Obama, when he went to vote, the other presidential candidate was elected. When this really happened in 2012. The Simpsons knew the future again. News started to be made. However, the voting error here occurred only for some voters. This error on the touch screen on the voting device? Actually, it was an ordinary mistake. The index predicts this as, "It may be an electronic error." He knew the future did not require deduction. The Simpsons Watchman Simulator in 1998, in 2010, the character gave a voice command to the clock on his wrist, showing the acquisition of Century Fox by Walt Disney 19 years ago in 1998. Most of these are just predictions for the future. In fact, none of the other predictions in many episodes of the series came true. Speaking to Newsbeat, Al Jean, one of the series writers, said this, "If you guess enough, 10% will surely come true," explained in the form, "A TV show or movie or characters can never know the future." The Simpsons animated series is the same. If they knew, the owners of the series would already have a fortune playing the stock markets. And he wouldn't do it either. But here I have to mention a very fine detail. There is a difference between knowing the future and predicting the future. The Simpsons cartoon sometimes predicts the present, sometimes the future, reveals a fictional story. If some of these happen, it's the main reason we're talking about this drama right now. Nobody knows but can predict the future. There is also a future planned apart from these two. Some dates, days, or times. For example, even you can plan your future right now. Just like that, some are planning the future of the Earth. These plans are sometimes made for 100 years, sometimes just a year later. So who is watching this video right now? So what's your first plan for the future? Do not forget to write this in the comments. I will surely read it. I expect 50,000 likes from you for this video, because in the next video, I'll be up against you with another mystery that has been debated for years.